The story of the Reliant Robin does not start in 1973. Its roots reach back almost 4 decades earlier to 1935, deep in the midst of the Great Depression. In a small workshop behind Tamworth's Lazy Hill Brickworks, a tiny engineering firm called Reliant Engineering Limited introduced its first three-wheeled delivery van. The man behind it, Tom Lawrence Williams, was a former rally bicycle engineer who had a remarkable insight. Thousands of ex-servicemen who had learned to ride motorcycles during the First World War simply could not afford a proper car, yet they could still drive a three-wheeled vehicle on a motorcycle license. In addition, three-wheeled vehicles benefited from dramatically reduced running costs. Road tax was just £5 a year instead of 15, insurance premiums were lower, and fuel consumption was modest. Williams realised that a lightweight, cheap and practical vehicle could provide real independence at a time when Britain was struggling economically. The first 1935 Reliant prototype used a 600 cubic centimetre single-cylinder JAP. From 1938, it switched to the successful 747 cubic centimetre Austin 7-based side-valve engine. It looked peculiar, almost like a garden shed mounted on a motorbike, but its simplicity, affordability, and practicality resonated with buyers. By 1938, Reliant had become Britain's largest maker of three-wheelers. During the Second World War, Reliant shifted its production to support the war effort, building jerry-can carriers, aircraft parts, and other military components. Yet, as soon as peace returned, they returned to three wheels, because Britain was still rationed, still financially strained, and people needed inexpensive transportation more than ever. In the post-war period, Reliant's Regal models, often referred to as supervans, cemented the company's reputation. These vehicles featured lightweight fiberglass bodies shaped like upside-down bathtubs, a revolutionary material choice at the time that kept production costs low and weight minimal. The Regals became a lifeline for small tradesmen, enabling delivery and mobility in an economy still recovering from the war. From the mid-1970s, Reliant also supplied three-wheelers to the Department of Health for disabled drivers, but the famous blue invalid carriages of the 1950s and 1960s were mostly Invacars and other makes, not Regals. By the early 1960s, Reliant was producing roughly 4,000 to 5,000 three-wheelers annually, a remarkable achievement for such a small company. Yet the automotive landscape was changing. The Mini, introduced in 1959, had revolutionized small car design, offering modern styling, compact dimensions, and nimble handling. The swinging 60s had arrived, bringing a cultural shift towards sleek, youthful cars. Suddenly, the Regal looked old-fashioned, reminiscent of post-war austerity. The need for a modern, competitive vehicle had become urgent. In 1969, Reliant approached Ogle Design, one of the UK's most innovative design houses, to craft a new model. Tom Carron, a visionary industrial designer who had created the Rally Chopper, the Bond Bug, and the iconic Bush TR-130 radio, took on the challenge. The brief was clear. The new three-wheeler had to look contemporary, seat for adults, and shed the stigma of the invalid carriage. Carron's design philosophy emphasized clean lines, minimal weight, and practical ingenuity, a perfect match for Reliant's constraints and ambitions. 4 years later, in October 1973, Reliant unveiled the result, the Reliant Robin Mark I. The name, somewhat whimsical, drew a few chuckles from journalists, but the car's compact yet purposeful styling drew genuine admiration. Measuring 11 feet long and 4.5 feet wide, and weighing just under 1,000 pounds when fueled, the Robin was astonishingly light and nimble. It was powered by Reliant's own lightweight 748 cubic centimetres, all-aluminium overhead valve engine, uprated to 848 cubic centimetres from October 1975, mounted transversely under the forward hinged front bonnet. Power drove the single front wheel through a 4-speed gearbox with a dogleg first gear, while rack and pinion steering and a simple steel backbone chassis kept construction straightforward and affordable. Storage was a creative exercise in itself. The tiny front compartment doubled as the boot, while the spare wheel was carried in a cradle under the bonnet alongside the engine from the very first cars. The launch brochure depicted a smiling housewife loading groceries into the front compartment while her husband refueled for just 25 pence a gallon, emphasising economy, accessibility, and everyday practicality. The Robin promised 60 to 70 miles per gallon, zero road tax, and a purchase price significantly lower than the Mini 850, making it irresistible to budget-conscious families and small business owners alike. Yet the Robin's engineering came with quirks. Its narrow 46-inch front track, combined with its single rear wheel, gave it an exceptionally tight turning circle, a feature that delighted drivers in city streets but contributed to one of its most infamous traits. During aggressive cornering, the inside rear wheel would often lift, sometimes alarmingly. Reliant engineers were aware of this and added a bright red sticker on the dashboard reading, "Danger, lean inwards on corners." Drivers quickly adapted, learning to shift their weight as if they were on a motorcycle sidecar. Some embraced it as a fun challenge, others were less fortunate. The Robin earned a series of nicknames, the plastic pig being the most enduring, and became fodder for jokes and stories across playgrounds and pubs alike. Despite its quirks, the Robin was a commercial success. In 1974, its first full year of production, Reliant sold over 13,000 units, followed by 17,000 in 1975. By 1976, the Tamworth factory was operating 3 full shifts, just to keep up with demand. The Robin was exported to Greece, where it was rebadged as the Jumbo, to Malta, painted in taxi beige, and even assembled under license in Cyprus. A deluxe model, the Robin Super, featured headrests and a cigarette lighter, rare luxuries for a 3-wheeled economy car in the mid-1970s. In 1981, the Robin entered British cultural legend. The BBC's Only Fools and Horses needed a cheap, ridiculous van for the Trotter brothers. The props department acquired a yellow 1972 Regal supervan, re-registered for the show, repainted it, and added the now iconic Trotters Independent Trading Co., New York, Paris, Peckham signage. Overnight, the Robin transformed from a utilitarian economy vehicle into a national symbol of eccentric British charm, cementing the car's place in popular culture. The glory didn't last. By the early 1980s, the first-generation Robin looked ancient next to Fiestas and Metros. A facelifted Rialto kept the dream alive until 1996. Then in 1989, the Robin returned as the second-generation model. Square headlights, a wider front track, and finally less chance of tipping over. The mid-1970s peak of 20,000 cars a year was long gone. By 1986, sales were crumbling under new tax and license rules. A striking 1999 third-generation Robin and the gold Robin 65 Birthday Edition couldn't save it. Production dwindled to just 1 car a week. The final factory Robin, a Monaco blue third-generation model, rolled out on Valentine's Day 2001, workers signing the roof like rock stars saying goodbye. A few more were built under license until 2002, and Britain's wobbly 3-wheeled Rebel was gone.